This is Still Here Hollywood's 10-minute takes, bite-sized chapters of our favorite chats with the stars. Hello, I'm Steve Kmetko, and here's the first of 4 chapters with actor Natasha Henstridge of Species.
Yes, I'm still here, Hollywood. Just ahead on today's episode.
Having been in the theater and seen myself, it was so overwhelming to see myself that big. It was just so overwhelming for me that I came out and I told a couple people, I hate this movie. This is terrible. I don't like it at all. And I think I was just really overwhelmed, and it, MGM got wind of that. And they sort of like shuffled me off, like smiling out of the theater, and then grabbed me and pulled me to the side and said, please don't say those kind of, don't say that.
Let me throw out another name, Matthew Perry.
Oh, yeah. Ugh, what a bummer. What a bummer. Happens way too often these days. Oh, you're going to make me cry. I'm so emotional.
One of the people I'd like to ask you about is Harvey Weinstein.
It was so powerful to be a part of women that talked openly about this, because you weren't like, oh, I'm not the only idiot, or I'm not the only one that got duped, or I'm not the only one that I must have put myself in this position. You blame yourself.
In Hollywood, aliens coming to Earth has been a go-to theme for screenwriters for decades. And of course, not all of the creatures from the beyond are as adorable and gentle as E.T. Some are here to wreak havoc among the human race. In 1995, one classic alien movie brought a horrible creature to Earth, perfectly packaged as one of the most beautiful women to ever walk our planet. This is Still Here Hollywood. I'm Steve Kmetko. Join me with today's guest, Natasha Henstridge of Species. Hi, Natasha.
Hello.
Welcome to Still Here Hollywood.
Yeah. It's perfect for me.
No, it's
I'm
perfect
still
for
here.
me too.
I'm still here.
Do you feel that way?
Hire me, someone. This year I feel that way. God, I haven't worked in this year. I've done some PR for stuff that I did last year.
It's only May.
Right?
Did the strike have anything to do with that, do you think?
I'm guessing the strike had something to do with, yes, I think there's just, I don't know why. You would think there's more stuff being made and there's more content and everybody was ready to like throw content back. But I'm actually confused, because people say the strike has something to do with it, and still COVID, and still nobody, I don't know if it's just that they're not hiring me, but I feel like I'm talking to a lot of actors that work on the regular, right? Not, that work on the regular who are not working. So I don't know. Do you have insight into this?
No, I don't.
I wish you could tell me
I'm
the
not
answer.
the person to look to for insight.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm positive.
That's not what I hear around town. I don't know.
You burst onto the scene in such a big way. Didn't you?
I did.
Was it frightening? You were so young, too.
Yeah. It was both not frightening in some ways, because I had no idea. For me, I was getting to make a movie. So I was so excited about the idea that I get to be in a film one time in my life. It's what I wanted to do, but you never know if it's going to happen, right? And so I was working with all these amazing actors, big actors, famous actors, established, talented people, but I had no idea who they were. I was so young, I didn't know. So in that way, not frightening at all. But when the movie came out and it was successful and people knew me, kind of really got to know me very quickly within a few day period, that freaked me out. I wasn't a fan of that. Yeah.
Did you have a big team around you to protect you when it first started?
I had agents, and MGM had their PR people and the producers, and there were some handlers, and they needed to handle me because I was 19 years old and I was now the star of their film that was suddenly doing well, and they wanted me to promote it. And I remember coming out of the screening. We didn't have a premiere, but we had a cast and industry screening. And I remember coming out of the theater, and having been in the theater and seen myself, it was so overwhelming to see myself that big. It was just so overwhelming for me that I came out and I told a couple people, I hate this movie. This is terrible. I don't like it at all. And I think I was just really overwhelmed, and it, MGM got wind of that. And they sort of like shuffled me off, like smiling out of the theater, and then grabbed me and pulled me to the side and said, please don't say those don't say that, So I was being handled a little bit, but no, I didn't have I think nowadays, people are getting training in media and, all of those things that we didn't have any of that. And nobody was doing that with me. I was just a free-for-all.
Well, now that you've had some distance to process all of this,
Yes.
what do you think of the movie now?
I love it. I love it. I'm proud of it. And it changed my life. And so I'm very grateful for it.
How much of an impact did it have on you?
Oh, God, it changed everything. I mean, it changed everything. It's the reason to this day that, people will, and it could have gone a million different ways, but it's the reason to this day that people will hire me, and in different countries where, they say you have a little bit of a name because they know you still from these movies that you've made 25, 30 years ago, Obviously, you want to show up and do a good job and have a good reputation and do some good work and all of that kind of stuff throughout your career. But it's not lost on me that that's a big part of, it's helped me throughout my career for sure.
Do people come up to you when you're out?
Yeah, they still do. And
How many selfies have you taken?
I've taken quite a few selfies over the years for sure. People still recognize me from that movie, which is just so damn flattering. I'm like 30 years on, and that's what they remember me from that. I'm totally flattered by that. And it had that kind of impact. And I think it's really fun to see all these newer generations that still connect to the film and watch it now. I'll meet fans sometimes, and they're like 20 years old, and I'm like, what? This was 10 years before you were even born. Why are you even, who turns you on to this, And so it's cute. It's really sweet.
You mentioned you worked with some really big names. One I would like to throw at you is Bruce Willis. Mm-hmm. He's having some trouble right now. What would you say to him?
I know he has. He's really going through it, isn't he? I'm grateful that I got to work with him. I'm grateful that I got to be around him when he was well. I'm so impressed at his family and how they've surrounded him. I remember his daughters being young girls and being on set when we were filming, and to see them as these incredible women now and the way that they are there for their family. And Demi and his wife, I think her name's Emma. But they're just, the way they've all kind of come together to be the support for him is really beautiful. And I'm super grateful to him as well because, he was very much he really decided on putting me in that film at the end of the day. And so I'm super grateful for that too, because it's one of my favorite films I've ever been in, the whole 9 yards. It was a blast. It was fun making it. It was fun watching it. I went, this is fun and I never like anything I'm in, so it was cool.
It's hard getting to watch yourself. It's hard when you first do it,
It's hard for me, even 30 years on, to watch myself in things, to not... And it's not that I'm vain. It's not that, I don't think I'm particularly vain for an actress, to be honest with you. I like to look good. Don't get me wrong. Of course.
You do.
I care about things like that, but I'm not, I've never let it rule my life. I've been heavy and thin and this and that. I'm happy. I'm not happier one way or the other.
I mean, this is the best way possible. You have every reason to be vain.
You're very sweet.
That's a good thing.
That's sweet. I just don't, I'm not, I guess that's where I was going with it, right? About watching myself on camera and stuff like that. I'm just not, I always feel like very rarely do I go, wow, I was really in flow. I really felt that scene. Or sometimes I love the scene and I hate the lighting or something. Or, I pick things apart too much that I'm in.
How did you decide to become an actress? You're Canadian, right?
I'm Canadian, yeah. I think that was always in me on some level. I came from a family that were very conservative in many ways, and that Canadian mentality of don't be any more than anybody else. That just kind of like, just calm down and be a good citizen and be a good girl and don't be seen too much and don't be too loud. And I hated all that. I just was like, be yourself, be open, be creative, be spontaneous. I just had that in me from a really young age. My poor mom did not know what to do with me. I think she looked at me and she was just like, wow, how did I, and this is it.
Threw up her hands.
Yes, just like, what am I going to do with this one, And so from a young age, I was dressing up and I was putting on costumes and I was interviewing people. I loved to interview people. And I actually still really enjoy people, getting to know them, understanding them, what makes them tick. And so early on, I thought being a journalist would have been cool, or a reporter, I loved that sort of thing. And then I got into school and I was doing plays and, getting to be the ham that I was, and there was a space for it. And so I think it happened really early on for me. I loved being on stage then. Now it terrifies me, but at the time I loved it.
Do you still get back to Canada? Do you have family there?
All the time, yeah.
To watch the next chapter, click the box. To listen, just stay tuned.